You've talked about how modernity is characterized by a rejection of truth and is thus a crisis of the intellect, man's noblest faculty. But some writers have also commented on a deep crisis of the will today, how there is this growing atmosphere of postmodern exhaustion and ennui, where young people today, especially men, evince a loss of thumos or spiritedness, even towards natural or pagan objectives. Is this something you have seen? How is this phenomenon related to the deadly sin of pride and the deadly sin of acedia?
Oh boy, again, you've got several questions here rolled up in one. It's above all the deadly sin of pride. Pride more than acedia, I would say. But, and it's expressed by the Beatles once again. Nothing is real, mind. Nothing to get hung about, will. Strawberry fields forever, a way of life. Following on the futility of the mind, the futility of the will, following on the futility of the mind, because it's the mind that informs the will. So if the mind is toppled, the will is up a creek without a paddle, as the Americans say. The will doesn't know what to do. It's going to choose anything. And that's what modern man is doing. You choose anything. Because the mind is not saying this is right and that's wrong, this is true and that's false. The mind is not discerning. The mind is not reading anymore. The mind has taken a vacation, is lying back on a soft chair in the sun, and the will is leaderless. And therefore the will collapses following on the mind. The mind needs, the liberation of the mind is the first step in chaos. And that's what Kant does with his philosophy. And it's radical. It's absolutely radical. I cannot know what's behind the appearances. In fact, what can I know? So the will is crippled as well. And that's one reason why the women take over. Because man is meant with his mind to lead the women. The women are strong in will, strong in emotion, strong in feeling, strong in heart. And the women take over. And the women don't know where they're going or what they're doing, basically. Unless they have the faith, which they can keep when the men lose it. They can still have the faith. If the woman keeps the faith when the man loses it, the woman can try to save the home and save her man. But if she loses her faith as well, it's more dramatic. When the man goes crazy, tiles fall off the roof. When the woman goes crazy, the foundations shake. The whole house comes down. Because she is the foundation of the house, with the lead of her man. But if the mind of the man is not leading, the emotions of the women are all over the place. And so various other things you mentioned there. Go little by little.
You notice today this sort of atmosphere of postmodern exhaustion, whether it's the listlessness of teenagers in a park.
Yes.
Where now they don't even have the thumos to pursue natural objectives.
That's the Beatles.
There's actually even now a loss of pursuit in the opposite sex.
Nothing to get hung about. Not even fooling around with the girls still to get hung about. There's nothing there. I'm a hollow man. I'm a hollow young man. I'm a hollow teenager. The teenagers didn't used to be hollow, but now they are. And we're at the end of the line. This is what Pius X is sort of saying. In Pascendi, we are at the end of the line. It lasted for another 100 years from Pascendi, but now, 2022, we're really getting to the end of the line. This madness can't go on much longer. It's still going on. But in the arts, you see it in the arts, we were talking about the arts, it's everywhere, because it's all life. The mind has been wrecked. The whole of human life is wrecked, because God gave us the mind to lead life. And we don't want to lead it God's way. We want to lead it our own way, which is insanity, craziness, because we're made by God to go to God. That's the purpose of our existence. And a human existence well lived, like Pius X, is a wonder, or an Archbishop Lefebvre. These men who lead their lives with the faith and in the light of the faith and obeying the faith, they can have a marvelous life, because to follow God, to obey God, to love God, and to lead your life in accordance with the love of God is what life is meant to be. And when it is what it's meant to be, it's a marvel coming from God. But if you turn yourself against God, life becomes tragic, despairing, ridiculous, nasty, poor, brutish and short. As Hobbes, the English philosopher in inverted commas, wretched apostate, Thomas Hobbes said, immediate heir of the apostates that tore England away from the faith. An intelligent man, smart man, no doubt, but faithless, absolutely faithless. I don't know much about Thomas Hobbes. All I know is he's one of these grey people. It seems to me, what I know of him is he's grey. And he's one of the villains. There have been a lot of villains, unfortunately, in England. England's had a real harvest of villains down the centuries. It was a merry England, but when it turned against the faith, it's become grey England. And we were saying yesterday, then gay England. Gosh, what a horror. But it's inevitable. You turn away from God, that's what's going to happen.